And there's a good reason to love it, because Lulu brings everything to the table. High mobility, disengage, you have good damage, and of course you are a lane bully. So I like the ban, and also with Ziggs being banned away from Jesses, he knew if Alex would have picked the Lulu, he would have been in issues, because Ziggs would have been the pick for him to try and counter it.
Interesting second ban here though by Gambit, actually taking Annie out of the mix, stopping Enrated, going in for that one. What do we think to that ban?
Well, Enrated have been very good on Annie. He's been very good at doing engages. He's obviously one of the shot callers from SK. But Annie did have a few changes. Here in the 4.4, now you have less damage early on, like your base damage on both Q and W have been reduced. The AP scaling though has been increased, so mid lane Annie is actually better, but support wise you have a little bit less damage, skill better into the late game if you do build some AP though.
And the funny thing is that Enrater's not been playing that much Annie recently. In fact, the last time that he played it, we finished 3-3-3 against Gambit in the game that they lost. However, back onto the bans, because we have Kha'Zix taken away, another very solid ban here, along with Lee Sin. So a lot of jungle bans coming out.
And in 4.3 you would see an instant lock release now, with pretty much all the top junglers being banned away. We have of course Pantheon, we have Wukong still open if SK Gaming wants to play them. Svensson played them in the past, but let's see if he wants this release or if they have something else in mind. Of course Renekton is open as an option, and ooh, LeBlanc onto Jesses. I'm not sure how I feel about it, because in the past when he's been playing LeBlanc, he's not been doing too well. Actually I believe he's having 2 losses on it already.
Yeah, played 2 games with LeBlanc. Lost both of those games actually, the last one against Rockout 0-3-0 and against Super Hot Crew earlier on in the season. So we'll see if Jesus can break out of that mold and the 100% win-loss that he has so far with LeBlanc. The question now is, what are Gambit going to be going for? Thresh, a champion which we did see last week for Gambit, for Edward against Millennium, 4-18 he finished with that one, pulled off some spectacular hooks.
And let's see here if Gambit actually wants to lock in Renekton for Darien up in the top lane with the potential counter pick in Ryze by SK. Once again, it's the thing Darien was talking about. He doesn't want to deal with these AP, very strong scaling into the late game like Ryze, so we can actually see him delay the top lane pick, try and see if Freddy wants to lock in the Renekton instead, and they know there's no Ryze onto him. And with both Thresh and of course Lucian locked in, we have a very strong early bot lane here for Gambit.
So what will SK be picking up on their second round of picks? Jinx, a champion that they're currently hovering over, and it's hard to tell with Candy Panda really, because he is a player that really doesn't, it seems like he doesn't really mind where he goes. He's played your standards, your Lucian, your Caitlyn, he's brought out Ezreal, he's played games with Vayne, so really could end up going anywhere. There is the Vel'Koz coming in. Most likely, well, it is going to be LeBlanc in there. So support Vel'Koz the first time. I was actually talking to Enrated earlier, and he kind of told me that he was going to go this path. And I'm always wary when players say that before the game that they're going to play. But this is going to be real interesting. Talk us through Vel'Koz and why you think, you said it earlier, that he fits better into a support role.
I wouldn't say he fits just better than mid lane, but at least there's an option for him to be a good support, because he's having some very good poke early on. The base damage is good. The mana costs are fairly low, so you don't actually need these heavy mana items to be able to just spam away your abilities. Of course, you provide slow, you have your knock-up on your E as well, so you provide some CC. The only issue with him for me is the fact you don't have any engage on him. People aren't going to stand and wait for your stun or your knock-up to hit onto them, so it's going to be hard for you to start fights, but the disengage potential you have, popping your ultimate when someone engages onto your team, you have a big laser in their face, and of course with the slows you have and everything you can put down, it's hard to engage onto Vel'Koz.
The problem is they're going to be squishy if Edward is on form landing those hooks.
Yeah, and then he's going to die.
And Lucian's got the dash away to get out of your knockup. Very interested to see how this one all works out, but Gambit are picking further on here as they take Orianna for Alex Ich in the mid lane and Aatrox for Darien up top.
So they have Aatrox jumping in, getting the ball from Alex, and then they can start the fights, and that's actually where both Jinx and Vel'Koz could be in trouble, because they don't have any mobility. So if Aatrox jumps into their face with the ball from Alex, they have to flash away, otherwise the shockwave can land, knock them together, and Gambit can just instantly blow them up.
And the Aatrox was played last by Darien against Alliance, but just before that against SK actually in the top lane. 2-2-13 he ended with that one. We're seeing some more interesting picks coming out here. Fiddlesticks for the jungle for Svensson and the Renekton for Freddy up top.
So I actually like this Fiddlestick here for Svensson. Yes, there were fear changes, so now targets run away from you instead of just running randomly around. So with Fiddlesticks here, if you can manage to get to level 6 without anything happening, your ganks are so strong. However, if you get shot down early on, you will be in trouble, and also your ultimate is having a very long cooldown. So if you miss your first gank, if you fail it by any chance at level 6, there's quite a while before you can do it again. So he's having some issues, but as a champion he's very, very strong if he gets the farm, if he gets good early game going. And once he's having the Sonias, pop into the middle of a team fight, pop your Sonias, so much damage you can do to everyone around you.
So it's about the jungle now here for Gambit, and actually locking in the Xin Chao here for Diamond.
So clear indication that none of these teams like Elise. She was open, yeah. Nobody picks her here. Philsix against Xing Zhao. If Xing Zhao catches out Philsix early on, he will destroy him. Also because he's having the knock up to interrupt the drain from Svenskeren, and it's going to be very hard for Svenskeren to do anything in these fights if Diamond is there. So that's obviously the idea behind this pick. And then also, he can do the same as Aatrox. Get the ball from Alex onto him and let him jump into the face of Jinx and Vel'Koz, pop the ultimate from Alex, pull them together and just instantly blow them up. So Gambit's setup here is really meant to just destroy SK Gaming's backline if they get the chance. I think Genji just staying in the backline against Freddy 1v1. But again, the SK side is actually somewhat the same. You have Jessis, Fiddlesticks and Renekton who can dash towards or jump in towards your backline and just instantly destroy either Alex or Genji here. So we have two teams who just want to, as soon as the fight starts, blow each other up.
And Vel'Koz who can stand all the way at the back and just laser all the way through the team themselves. So let's check in and see who you guys think have the advantage in this game. With 71% of the vote, you believe that Gambit are going to break the tie here and take first place for themselves. That is a big number if you ask me, considering where these two teams are right now.
And we always have to remember with Gambit, we're not really sure which team is showing up. This is against SK Gaming, however, True. So this is the time for them to really show up and prove they are the best team in Europe. So, but with the votings, I want to be boring and say 50-50 because both teams are so good, so I'm going to keep it at 50-50.
50-50. Pretty much as boring as you can get when it comes to a vote like that. Sitting on the fence like a boss. But we have some interesting picks coming out from this one. I have to talk about level 1 because we've only really seen Millennium being a team up until now in the LCS doing anything at level 1. We saw it in that last game with the changes that we're getting here on 4.4. Do you think we're going to see anything here as we go live with SK versus Gambit?
Well, Alex can check now with his ball, of course, and you have some blind hooks from Edward to start something. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gambit as a team go in, try a hook from Edward into whatever bush they decide to pick, and then see if they can catch someone out from SK, because on their side, they don't really have anything to check with, except for maybe the ball or the Q from Vel'Koz shooting in to see if they hit someone.
So here we go then, teams.
And of course, Jinx can all shoot a stab in if she starts with it.
Oh, Q actually landing there for Unrated. Nice little start for him. Interesting to note there. You know, if you actually, we said it already, he's all about skill shots.
Yeah.
The fact is that if you land your skill shots properly, you've actually got two skills that can get you gold, really, there from that Spell Thief's Edge right at the start.
And most important, you have a lot of damage. So if you manage to land these things together with Jinx at level 6, your ultimate, a big laser in their face, and then the rocket from Jinx, that is so much damage you can pile onto someone like Edward or Genji if they can manage to catch them first with the knock-up, and then the traps coming in from Jinx, you can lock them down for quite some time and just burst them down. So I like this combo here with both Jinx and Vel'Koz, and we need to see if they can get to level 6 where they can really burst out all the damage.
So excited to see how this one all works out. Right now we've got the line defense from both teams. Svenskeren has already backed away towards his blue buff for the start, running that Pirate Fiddlesticks. Diamond doing similar thing here, all the way back on his red buff here from the start. Looks like we're going to be getting a more tame start than what we saw in the first game of the week.
And a little thing to note, we actually have cleanse on to Alex. So if he gets feared by Svenskeren, he can pop the cleanse. Chains, of course, from Jessis. Stun from Freddy here, he can cleanse out of them. And I like the pickup. It's a bit of an issue for him though, because it's going to make him weaker in lane, but he needs to take it to avoid all the CC from SK, because they want to engage onto someone like him, lock him up and just explode.
And you have to say his kill potential onto someone like LeBlanc is not going to be massively high anyway, so would that ignite be a better choice? Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? We'll see how Alex Ich does in this one. We are going to see, though, down on the bottom that these duos face up. Vel'Koz Jinx against Lucian Thresh. Who's got the advantage in this lane?
Well, we need to, of course, see if Enredi can land his skill shots. As soon as his Q goes to max range here, it's going to split up into two, and that's where if he can hit multiple members, or at least one member every time, he's getting some good poke, and his mana is not an issue because Q very low mana cost early on here. So look at him, actually almost hitting both Edward and Genji. And with Candy Panda putting a lot of damage onto Genji, SK is starting out really well.
Very interested in this one again. Edward taking some of that poke, and there is level 2 coming in for SK Gaming, getting that one just before Gambit, who have just hit that point themselves here. So actually no push through, as we see the W being thrown out there in the end by N-Rated. So interesting bottom lane. Interesting to see how these junglers do as well. Physics and Xin Shao too, that we've not seen for a while.
And N-Rated needs to be careful here. He actually moved out to more or less bait a ward in this river because Diamond actually pinged it. He wanted to go down there, so N-Rated he moved out and then he moved backwards because Diamond, he actually expected him to ward even though the ward is on cooldown. That's why he backed away from the bot lane. But he's still staying around here. Let's see if he wants to try something. There is no ward from SK Gaming.
What this top lane, Darian openly saying in that video, I'm not scared of these tanky champions. He knows that Freddy likes to play his Renekton, and that's exactly what Freddy's got his hands on in this game as well. We can see that Darian already taking a lot of bully from, well, probably the best early lane bully you have in that top lane.
Yeah, Freddy is going to have all the control in the lane, constantly push him down. He needs to be careful though. If Diamond comes up with Xing Zhao, they have a lot of CC to lock him down and a lot of damage, so he needs to be careful when pushing up here. Also because Svenskeren, he needs level 6 before he can actually help.
Oh, a little bit of a pause there as Svenskeren was just in there, and it looks to be something with Freddy at this point, and certainly everything needs to be fine in this one. This is a top of the table clash, let's not forget. Probably the reason why as well the start to it was so timid. If you make a mistake here, it can cost you a game even at this early stage.
And that's the whole thing, when you don't have any vision early on, it's just a gamble if you want to invade in. We saw in the last game, Millennium were just waiting, Copenhagen Wolves said we want to go towards that blue buff, and boom, there's Millennium. We give up first spot. So it's always a gamble now when you have no vision, unless the support decides to start a ward early on, but we haven't seen it yet.
So we have our admins in there, and our Gambit fans as well, getting the chance to
I like
go
the
in
sign
here
here
in the studio.
saying Genji is pointing in the Gambit logo.
Absolutely awesome stuff to see. Don't forget, you guys can get involved as well. If you head over to lolesports.com, click the tickets link. If you want to come down to the studio and watch these games live. Right now, Freddy just talking to the admins there, so hopefully this pause shall be remedied here in just a few moments and we can get things back underway. But if you take a look, we're only 4 minutes in, very, very early doors in this. It's even, surprisingly enough, after 4 minutes.
One thing we do see, however, is actually Alex doing a very good job early on against this LeBlanc with Jessis, and generally picking Orianna into LeBlanc, I like it because you can have a few ranks in your shield if you want to play very passive, and then you can just focus on farming away. If LeBlanc jumps towards you, you shield yourself, of course. He's having the cleanse if he should be chained or feared by Svenskeren in a gank. So he's just going to farm away, focus on not trying to kill Jessis, but just force him out of the lane, or at least lose on CS.
And again, we saw in the last time that these two teams met, LeBlanc versus Zed was actually the first time that we've seen Jesus really go in the assassin route. He's going to do it again here against Alex Hitch, who played a 9-3-5 LeBlanc in that last encounter between these two teams. I'm interested to see how Jesus does.
And the thing I actually dislike about Jesus when it comes to playing assassins is not his laning phase. His early game and laning phase is good. It's when it comes to team fights. His LeBlancs in the past, the 2 games he played, he would actually get a few kills early on, but then in team fights, he would just try and kill either the support or he would try and kill the tank. He would never actually really find the right targets. It meant that teamfight-wise, SK would be weaker because he didn't pick the right targets. That's what we need to see in this game. If he's been fixing it, is he going to go towards someone like Genji or someone like Alex and just try and destroy them instantly?
Well, here we are, back in game, SK versus Gambit. Svenskeren did manage to steal himself the big Wraith there, I do believe, with his smite, and he's now headed towards the top lane. There is a ward in that tri-bush, so Darian shouldn't be getting caught out.
And they need to be careful if Diamond gets onto Svenskeren here.
Oh, dive in there, but Svenskeren using the flash. He saw Diamond coming out of the Gambit jungle, and Diamond sticks a ward down in that river there and says, you better be careful, because I'm going to be in the right place at the right time here today.
And with the flash gone, Svenskeren, he has more or less to run in your face and just fear you. That's his ganking potential before level 6. Let's see Diamond here if you want to fight or if you want to back off. The red buff is gone for him. Svenskeren still having his red buff.
Chasing down onto him there. Diamond actually going to be chased out of the Baron pit here. Is he going to be forced to flash? Yes, he is.
Yeah, and look at the movement from Freddy. That's why Diamond didn't want to fight, because Freddy, he had already pushed Darren all the way up to the turret, so he would be able to come down and help Svenskeren. So Diamond simply felt, I have to just back off.
Oh, bit of damage being exchanged down bottom. The knock-up not quite landing there out of N-rated, but does manage to land his Q, getting that slow off on towards Edward. Candy Panda going to face off 1 versus 1 as Edward flashes in. He's landed the hook, goes through for the play as well, but Candy Panda throws down the jumpers. That locks them up, but Edward picks up first blood. Can N-rated turn this one around? He gets the slow and the knock-up onto Genja, but he's not got the damage to finish off.
Fantastic flash hook from Edward here. So Candy Panda actually tried to flash away, but still, he just got caught by the hook from Edward, pulled him in, first blood Gambit. Beautiful play by him, and his fresh against Millennium last week was fantastic. If he can do the same thing here, SK Gaming are in trouble.
And we mentioned in the pre-game, something that Gambit have done or have had a bad time with is giving up first blood, specifically down in that bottom lane. Be a refreshing change for them almost to be doing that themselves this time around. That puts them close to 1,000 gold in the lead of this one. If you look in the top lane, Darien is taking a bit of damage from this. Obviously has his blood well, even if things really go badly for him. Crucially, he's keeping up in terms of farm.
Yeah, fantastic play by Darien, actually going even in farm against Renekton. Renekton is supposed to bully this lane, win it early on. Of course, the fact that Diamond spotted out, or the ward spotted out Svensson before, meant there was no pressure onto Darien. He could just farm away onto the turret. He's been doing a fantastic job so far. Getting level 6 now, so he's gonna be able to at least respond if Freddy tries to dive him here. So we need to see if Freddy just want to farm away, or he actually really want to try and push the advantage he should be having as Renekton.
Oh, this mid lane, we see that the command protect being used often by Alex, who has a solid lead at this stage with this last minion. If Jesus lands it, which he does, it's a 10 CS lead exactly.
And again, with early chalice from Alex, he's having some magic resistance, and then of course the shield. Jesse is not having the damage to kill him. He's also going for chalice, so he want to go with Fiends, not DFG as the first item. So he simply is not having the damage to deal with Alex, and that's why he can just farm away.
Very interesting game down on this bottom side as well. Level 5 for Candy Panda as the hook comes out, does land, but onto a minion. Not really the target that they were looking for from that, but some good damage back nonetheless. Meanwhile, the mid laners here, or at least Alex Itch hitting level 7, and Jesus going pretty deep with that one. Did use his ultimate, didn't quite get the damage in there that he was looking for though.
And Alex is just going to stay in the lane, popping his health potion, so he's going to sustain some of the health back and just continue farming. Jesse's going to get this blue buff here. You could give it to the Fiddlestick, of course, for the earlier level 6, but Svensson have to give it over to Jesse. He needs it for this lane. And down in the bot lane, we need to see again if SK, once they push up the lane actually to Gambit side, how much poke they can put onto them. We saw it before, but for now, Enred is only level 4 till level 5 of Edward here, so they are having some issues.
Actually backing away, and we saw the pings coming down there for Gambit. Nothing that they can really do about this one to stop it happening. In fact, you can see that Diamond is on the top side, or on the bottom side, but on the top side of the bottom side of Gambit's jungle, doing his wolves, and then we'll be doing the blue, which will of course go over to Alex Itch on Orianna in this mid lane.
And Svensson got his level 6 now. Flash is almost ready, so he's gonna be at the point where warding against Fiddlesticks is becoming so hard because he can just jump over the walls here from a long distance away. So let's see if you want to set anything up. He could potentially dive onto the top lane or try kill onto Alex, even though there's a cleanse.
Here is Svensson waiting. He's level 6 now. Will he dive on towards Alex from this one? Actually, Diamond is not too far away. He's currently doing his Wraith camp as a hook comes out. Actually will land on towards N-rated. Box goes down, and Rated taking a lot of damage from the Cullen. Genji's going to go under the tower. Flashes away as well. Candy Panda not level 6, so he's not got the execute here. And Gambit pick up a second kill in the bottom lane.
And the big issue for Vel'Koz, lack of mobility. As soon as Edward lands the hook, he's just forced to flash away, but he got so low that Genji could actually pick up the kill. And I love the way they're playing this bottom lane for Gambit here. Really punishing SK for this Vel'Koz pick.
That's part of the problem that I guess a lot of people saw in this one. Yes, you've got some good points and some reasons why you would use Vel'Koz, but risky. He's not mobile whatsoever, and as soon as your flash is down, you're open, especially against someone like Thresh. If you land that hook and everything goes following into it, you're in some real trouble. Svensson's actually come into this bottom lane to try and turn things around.
They need to turn this one around. They need to get a kill onto Candy Panda. They need to get a kill onto someone like Enrated as well, because he's also falling behind. Edward should be able to get the sidestone when he goes back here. So issues for SK Gaming, and teamfight wise, we really need to see perfect positioning for both Candy Panda and Enrated. Otherwise this Xing Zhao and this Aatrox is going to be right in their face.
As Alex, he's done this constantly here. Head back towards the Wraith camp. Make sure he can pick those up just to add to his CS total and try and keep that domination up over Jesus. 109 to 78 CS on that front. However, bottom lane has gone back here for Gambit. Looks like SK are moving towards it.
But the remaining members of Gambit are close by. Diamond already showing in the mid lane here, so SK wisely backing off from the Dragon. They know he's nearby. Jess is actually going in.
A lot of damage as well, and Svenskeren goes on top of him. Shockwave can't pull Svenskeren up as the drain comes in as well. Svenskeren didn't quite get over towards Alex Hitch, but that's the first kill of the game back for SK.
And that's the power of Fiddlestick, and of course Jess is setting everything up here. They spotted Diamond in the mid lane, got the chains onto him, jumped him, got him very, very low, and then Svenskeren just popped him with his ultimate, and they even got the ultimate away from Alex here.
So Svenskeren's headed towards top now. Will he be able to finish off Darian? He's got Bloodwell. Your immediate answer to that one would probably be no, especially with the fact that his ultimate is down. In fact, Darian is coming around here. He's going to have good damage as he does get feared. What's his next move? It's a flash over the top. Bloodwell is going to be popped. Can they actually lock him up from this one? Darian going very low. Jumps over though into the Baron pit. He's on a run once again. How many times have we seen Darian on the run? How far is he going to go? He's drawing SK in. Gambit are moving towards the Dragon, and Darian continues. Well, here comes Jesus. Is he going to be able to get away? No, he's not. Jesus gets the kill. Diamond and the rest of Gambit get the Dragon.
Time and time again we see this. Darian, they go into him, and now it's a Candy Panda.
On towards Edward here as well. Can they take him down? Lifeform Disintegration Ray coming out, but he's at close range. It's hard to hit. Well, they've got the damage. Candy Panda gets the kill.
So Edward, he landed the hook, but he didn't land on back towards the Dragon Pit, so nobody followed over with him, and he just ended up giving a free kill to SK. And with Darian, the fact he pulled up 3 members towards the top side meant there was a Dragon for Gambit. It meant it was worth it for Gambit to pick up the Dragon, even though they lost Darian here. So good move by him. And SK, just look here, early aggression onto this Fiddlestick. Triple Doran's ring, and also Magic Pen boots already. So Svenskeren, he wants to make sure in the early fights he can do a lot. And it's going to delay his Sonya's though. That's one thing we need to remember. And Sonya's for him in teamfights is going to be a key item.
Speaking of items, let's look at the AD carries here, because Candy Panda been pretty much forced into a pickaxe at this point, falling in there behind, needs some damage right now, can't afford to wait for the BF sword that we already see with Genja. How's that going to set him back in that lane?
Well, again, it's going to mean for him, at least, when it comes to the early fights with pickaxe, yes, he's going to have the extra damage. The whole laning setup is meant to be we catch someone out with our knock-up, and then we just burst them down with both Jinx and Vel'Koz ultimate. That's why he wanted the early pickaxe. It's going to delay, though. If he decides to go for something like a Bloodthirster, it's going to be delayed. He can save this pickaxe for when he actually wants the last Whisper, or he can build it into something like an Infinity Edge.
Well, we see blue buff going over to Jesus, and Alex Hitch using that time here to put the damage down. Alex Hitch getting caught a little bit there by Jesus, but not really anything to be afraid of for him with that command protect on as Edward starts to move in. Actually, he's going to take all the poke that Candy Panda and N-Rated control him, and actually he's going to go through again. This time he gets caught with the chompers. Have they got enough damage to finish him off? There is a super mega death rocket finisher for Candy Panda. A second kill pretty much just given over there. As Svenskeren going to be caught out by Diamond. There's a shockwave. Diamond goes low to Jesus, but they're going to force him off. He's got the blue buff, so he's got the cooldown. Gambit, are they going to pick the right target? The dash away. Jesus just about escapes.
So we see the combo in mid lane we talked about. Diamond jumping onto Svenskeren with the ball from Alex, popping the ultimate. No flash onto Svenskeren here, so it was an easy target for him to kill. Down in the bottom lane, again, we see the reason for the early pickaxe here for Candy Panda, because they know they have enough damage to burst someone down. As soon as they get them low, he pops the ultimate. It's an execute, of course, doing more and more damage the lower they are, so he picks up the kill. And that was without the ultimate for Vel'Koz.
Yeah, he didn't even need it at that point, as this turret now going to be shredded by Candy Panda. He decide to back off, but a WQ combo there coming out from N-Rated is going to do a fair amount of damage to Genja. Let's have a look at that lane a little bit closer once again. The farm still in the advantage of Genja. Gone for the BF sword, and I hate to say it, we're going to talk about Genji builds now. Artificial, something
Not
you
yet.
don't like
We don't know what he's building
We
yet.
have a BF sword in there at least for now.
Yeah, good start. I like this Genja. I agree with you so far. Let's keep it at that.
Oh, Freddy here going to be diving in on towards Darian. That's a lot of turret damage, and Darian managing to get one back for himself there.
So Freddy actually decided to dive onto Darian without his ultimate. So That's why he couldn't tank up the turret, and of course Darren didn't have his passive himself. So just trading 1 for 1, definitely in favor of Darren here. He wants to make sure he can get early kills on early farm as much as possible against Renekton.
Ravenous Hydra is in there for Freddy at this point, so certainly can put quite a lot of damage down as Jesus starts to move in. He's actually going to scan here inside of that tri-bush and see if he can get rid of that ward. In fact, they're going to go towards Edward. There's 3 men down there. Genja trying to force them in. That is a brilliant hook. Jesus now in a lot of trouble. Turret is doing a lot of damage to him as they dive over. They kill Enrated. They're going to kill Candy Panda as well. That kill will be given over to Diamond. Jesus' cloud will be focused. Jesus does escape, but disastrous for SK.
Edward is he's a boss. That hook, he predicted the jump from Jesus, lands it, sets up the entire fight. Ultimate from Enrated was used early to try and make them back off, but Gambit just chased for it, picked up the kills, can take the turret now here in the bot lane as well. Beautiful play set up by Edward.
Set up by Edward, finished off by the rest of them. If you look down the score, that leaves Genja at 2-0-2. You see Diamond at 2-1-1 now as well. 2 assists for Alex Ich. At this point in the game, he's just focused on getting that farm going and not giving any kills over towards LeBlanc at this time.
Yeah, again, the whole focus for Alex is just continue farming, getting strong. You want the Fiends, you want your Death Cap, you want your Void Staff, and then once we get to the team fights with both Aatrox and Sings out to get his ball in a good position, he can really land some shockwaves that can simply win the game for Gambit. If he gets it onto Vel'Koz and Jinx in a team fight, they're gonna die instantly.
And in a 1v1 scenario, actually gets the turret there. Freddy's going in on towards Darien, but he's not thought about Genja, who's coming across here. Dominus is running. Can Freddy get away from it? He actually flashes the slow, and that will make him escape to freedom as Edward was actually coming down there. Couldn't get in though.
But Gambit needs to start moving down towards this dragon. It's gonna spawn in 30 seconds, and SK Gaming not in a position yet, but they can get there faster. We actually see Genja now running away from the top lane, want to get to this bot lane, which is left open until Diamond come here to defend it.
Oh, this is a lot of damage going on to Diamond. Are they going to dive this one? Where's the super mega death rocket? Diamond just simply steps off to the side. No ultimate for Enrated to keep that one going. And now look at Eddie. He fancies himself for hook. He's going to come towards Candy Panda, who is going to get the slow. There's the knock up as well. Is he going to land the hook on this one? Alex misses the ball, but there is the hook. Alex picks it up, and now Enrated in no man's land. He's trying to damage Edward, throws down the left, decent Ray, and anyway they get the kill. He's got such a long name that we don't need it. The rest of SK tried to come down there, but they were just too late.
Just too late, and Edward coming down behind him. We actually had Genja ganking the top lane first as the AD carry, then he decided to jungle at the Wraith camp. It meant that SK thought they could take the turret down bot, but due to both Alex and Diamond being there, stopping them, and then Edward rotating all the way down to bot lane, they simply got caught out of position. 2 kills and a dragon for Gambit Gaming. They're looking very, very strong.
I have to ask you a question here. I will avoid that for a second. Darian just jumping away. The build that we see there for Svenska, needs a large rod, triple Doran's ring, straight out Hydra for Freddy in the top lane. Neither of them going down a tanky route from this one. Could this cost them as Gambit start to get stronger?
Well, the tanky route for Fiddlestick's jungle is going to be the Sonias, and that's you jumping into the face, people turn around to try and kill you, you pop it, and you delay dying and do a lot of damage to them. But yeah, we talked about the triple Dorans earlier. It's simply for the early game power. Also, if he should find out someone like Diamond, he wants the triple Dorans to be stronger in these 1v1s or 2v2s. The Hydra for Freddy is actually something a little bit weird for me. It's something we see a lot of people do here in Europe, but normally, if you go to Korea, for instance, people just build a Tiamat and then they go full tank from there. So they have the Tiamat for the extra damage and also the pushing power. Freddy, though, decided to just upgrade it completely, and now Shockwave here from Alex.
Yeah, trying to get rid of a bit of that damage. Edward throws out the hook as well. Meanwhile, Svenska and Freddy did come around. This is a 5-man stack for SK Gaming in this mid lane. The turret is down to less than half health. Will they be able to force Gambit away from it, though? Alex Ich can pretty much zone them there using that ball.
No shockwave.
Will he have? Yeah, he's not got any shockwave, so he's just trying to get rid of the minions as fast as he possibly can. SK will have to tank it from here. Gambit hold them off for another wave.
Yeah, very nice wave clear from Alex. Genja was not nearby, he was in the base, and now we see SK continue to run as 5. With the combo SK is having, they need vision control. They need to control the river here if they want to catch someone out, because LeBlanc, of course, want to find a target. Fiddlesticks want to make sure he can start his ultimate without being interrupted. Now, Enraider to be caught out.
Being caught out, has to use the flash, and that's your mobility as well, cause you've got to flash away if you get caught like that. We'll see how that one all goes. Actually, he's got magic pen boots in there, obviously trying to get more damage out.
Look at the damage onto Freddy.
Yeah.
When you finish your Hydras, instead of just going Tiamat into tankiness, you're going to be very squishy for a while. Even if he goes back now, buys a Giant's Belt or buys a Warden's Mail or goes into Spirit Visage, he's still going to be a very squishy target for Gambit to actually kill in these fights. And with all the damage on their side at the moment, he's going to die very fast.
Well, he actually went in there and did pick himself up that Giant's Belt. Also, the cloth armor as well. And a few more men actually going back for some item pickups. Candy Panda getting himself the Bloodthirster there. He's compared that off to a Infinity Edge. First item on the other side for Genja. And a Vamp Scepter that he's got in there.
Yeah, so let's see if Genji this time around decides to build some crit items to supply his Infinity Edge, so he's gonna benefit more from it. But we will see actually what he decides to build. He's having the lifesteal now, so of course he wants to be able to sustain both in the fights and of course also if he should be poked down, go to the main sustain. And now Darien going on to Freddy here. The rest of Gambit are coming in.
Going very, very aggressive. Darien taking a lot of damage from this one, and Freddy knows he's going to have to stick around. There is the Bloodwell pop. What will Darien do? They get the slowdown onto him. The Flay will keep him away from Darien. Super Mega Death Rocket came in, but it hit Edward at the back. But here come the rest of SK trying to get in position. It's Svenskeren that goes in first. He threw down the fear, but there's the shockwave. Diamond is now on Svenskeren. Svenskeren has to flash away. The Ray comes through. It doesn't quite finish off Alex Ich. Command Protect is enough. 2 kills for for Gambit. SK run away.
Yeah, Svenskeren actually ran into the face of Gambit. He wanted to catch someone out with his spear, but it simply means as Fiddlestick, you can never start your ultimate when people have vision on you, when they're right in front of you. They can stop it. So Gambit just turned around and just went on to him. The rest of SK spotted out Alex here, but with both Cleanse and Flash, he managed to survive, even though he almost went down. So once again, big win for Gambit. The mid lane turret here, Diamond will be able to defend it. And they're doing so well in their decisions. And again, we just need to see SK. Dragon coming up here in 1 minute and 50 seconds. Can they get some good vision control down so we can actually get an ultimate from Svenskeren into the team fight, into the face of Gambit, and just instant kill someone like Alex or someone like Genja?
They could really do with a good fight at this point, and a Dragon as well. If you look at the goal, it's approaching a 6,000 gold lead for Gambit. One thing on the other hand, you know, even if Svenskeren does jump in there, you've got Alex Ich who can pull him back with his shockwave, you've got Diamond who can knock him straight away with his ultimate, you've got Edward who can flay him back as well away from the team, so Svenskeren has to pick the perfect moment to get involved.
Yeah, and also once there's going to be a mid kills onto Edward's side, he can cleanse the fear, of course, from Svenskeren. If he does decide to fear Genji, we can see Genji even go for a Quicksilver Sash to simply avoid this CC Svenskeren brings, and then they can just try and turn around and just instantly kill him when he's actually jumping in.
Once again, we saw that the kills coming in for Gambit in that one were all started off by Darien. Even though it was a 1v1 at the start, SK came up and got involved with things. This is, we've said it before, a perfect champion for him with that built-in safety of the Bloodwell. Something that Darien he's going to rely on, let's be honest about that one. But Austin does so well with it. This time they saw that SK were coming in, he wisely just jumps away. It's going to be a red buff nonetheless for Candy Panda, stolen away.
And this time SK actually tried to do the same as Gambit did before. Svenskeren was running with Freddy up in the top lane, so they wanted Gambit to fight him or go, or have Darien jump towards him, and then Svenskeren would join in. But they need to be careful now because they're at the turret up here, but the rest of Gambit are coming in close.
Jez is forced to move away. There is a jump in by Svenskeren. Darien is going to go down, but look at the damage from the shockwave. The culling comes through as well. Right now it's 2 for 1, but there is Diamond on a rampage. Freddy gets hooked in by Edward. He won't survive this one. A double kill for Genja. Alex Ich has been chased by Enraitan and Candy Panda. We'll see if he can turn this back. There's the slow, another slow, and the Super Mega Death Rocket. The hook just flies by Candy Panda. They start to flash in. They want to finish him off. Good slow out of Enraitan. Candy Panda's still running from this one. The chompers go down. Candy Panda's going to have to keep going for it. I think Gambit give up the chase here as they realize they get a blue buff.
So there was no passive onto Darien, but he still got the ball from Alex, popped the shockwave, hit 2 people, and Svenskeren without the Sonias instantly just died. He actually got in here. Notice the fight. Darien here, no passive, and he's the target. Svenskeren charges up the ultimate, pops spear onto Alex, then ball onto Darien, pops it, the thing we talked about in champ, like the ball delivery system, instantly kills them. And then the rest of Gambit here, Freddy, he's no issue for them to kill at this point. Genji just hammering away on him all the time. And while Alex will actually go down to the very beautiful rocket from Candy Panda here, it's still a one team fight for Gambit.
Down by Dragon, actually. That one now coming up live. Svensson going to get blown to pieces once again. The Dragon did go the way of Gambit, and now they're going to keep pushing. Darian here does get locked up as the Cullen doing tons of damage. The jump over the top. Candy Panda falls, and now Enrated, he's got no mana. He's been slowed down. There's no flash available. Actually, there was a flash available. He used it. He didn't really need to use it. He went down anyway, and that's another 3 for 1 and a Dragon for Gambit.
Gambit doing everything correct in this fight, and Svensson once again caught out here before the fight even starts. He didn't even have the ultimate, instantly just died. Yes, they managed to pick up a kill themselves with all the damage, but then when Alex joined in for the fight, they could just chase on, get the kills. Now they're starting this Baron. Only Freddy's nearby to try and stop it.
Decisive from Gambit, as we've come to expect them. When they say Baron, they go in there and they'll throw everything that they've got at it. Actually, we see Alex is trying to keep Jesus zoned away from that one. Freddy here going to get pulled onto by Diamond and Alex. He pops his ultimate, but it will force him away, meaning that he can't challenge whatsoever. Edward is coming back in after dying in that last team fight, and it's going to be picked up by Gambit. Super Mega Death Rocket was thrown in. Svensson does do some damage, but he falls very, very quickly afterwards. There's Jesus going down. Now the laser coming in. It's strong, but it's just not strong enough, and that will be a double for Alex. Another 3 kills going over to Gambit. This time it's not the Dragon, but the Baron that they pick up with it.
Just like the last team fight here, Gambit picking up the kills, doing everything so well. Edward, he tanked up the rocket, then he tanked the rest of SK and died, but then remaining members just picked up the kills. Svensson got in there, he didn't get to pop his Sonias, didn't actually see if he had it before the fight started, but he's once again for Gambit, he's always the target. Now he's having the Sonias, so let's see once he pops into the face of Gambit, if he pops it, what Gambit decides to do. Will they back off, wait for it to run off, or will they just ignore it and go towards the rest of SK?
Yeah, 26-53, that one picked up, so not available in that last fight, but he certainly needs it at this stage as Genja and Candy Panda here are battling over the red buff. This time Svensson is hanging around. Genja needs to be careful as they flash in. The fear is going to lock him up. There's the drain. Genja dodges away. Command protect. Side sets one. He's going to have to try and escape it. He surely can't. The shutdown comes in for Svensson, but Diamond is right in the middle of the pack. Alex picks up 1 kill. Svensson going to be the next target. He's draining. He does go down without using that Zhonya's hourglass, and now they just wreck through the rest of the team. Candy Panda falls. Another 3 kills for Gambit.
And the mobility for Gambit's lineup, every single team fight we see the same thing. They jump into the face, get the first kill, continue chasing, get the next kill. Sing Zhao for Diamond have been absolutely fantastic. He's been doing everything correct in fights. He's always in the face. They can't kill him. He's too tanky. And at the same time, he's having so much damage. Combined that with the ball from Alex, every single team fight is the same. He joins in, picks up the first kill, continue chasing, and the low mobility of Jinx, Vel'Koz, Fiddlesticks, they can do anything to get away from him.
And despite Genji going down in that last fight, I'm pleased to announce that he has in fact picked up the Zephyr as his second item here.
So this time around, it actually makes sense in the case he's getting tenacity against the CC from SK, and at the same time the extra movement speed for him means he can play more safe in the team fights. Still, I would like to see just a Quicksilver Sash and then standard route of either Phantom Dancer or the Static Shift, just to provide the extra crit for his Infinity Edge to make it do the maximum amount of damage.
Once again, Gambit keep up the pressure here inside of the SK jungle. Diamond getting slowed, but taking that Lantern off to safety. Genja here is ripping through the top lane and actually will take the 3rd turret of the game here for Gambit. We're half an hour in and actually quite low in terms of turret kills. There's been a lot of fighting, but not much in terms of pushing down. I don't want to say objectives because you see multiple dragons and a Baron going down, but the towers at least from that one. Right now, we are seeing Genja being pressured a little bit by Freddy, but honestly don't think he's too scared of him.
Yeah, what we have seen is a team from SK side who were thinking to themselves, we need to fight early on. Our combo here, it shines in the mid game, so that's where we want to pick the fights. And then Gambit with their combo scaling so well into the late game, and just because they've been ahead pretty much the entire game, and because they've been playing these team fights so well, they just said, you know what, we're ready to fight, and just turned them around every single time SK tried. There's a lot of times they were actually fighting in the jungle of Gambit, where it's SK who starts it, and then Gambit just turns it around and wins.
Gambit once again backing away. They're going to have another blue buff to steal. This time it goes over to Genja. Alex Ich there just having a peek around by the base and see what they can get. They've got the top and the bottom inner turret still to take down. Actually, bottom is pushed very heavily, so they're going to have to get down there and deal with that one. Diamond just not really caring that he's taking those turret hits right now. He hardly loses any health whatsoever.
He's so strong. 8 kills, 1 death only, and 8 assists, of course. Already with the Randuin zone, when he should have a lot of gold now when he backs off to buy. So he's gonna be close to impossible for SK to actually kill in these fights, because he will always jump to the backline with the ball from Alex, and if they stay close to try and kill him, shockwave, you're dead.
And Alex himself, 6-1-8. Got a bit of protection now with that Banshee's Veil on as well. 270 to the 195 CS. So overall, just excelling himself. And we've actually, as we were talking about the tankiness of Diamond, he picked himself up a Warmog's armor as well. So he's sat on about 4,000 HP.
Yeah, have fun.
3,629 if we're going to be very precise about that one. And again, he's just stalking through that SK Gaming jungle. And why not, really? I mean, who's he got to be scared of on SK's team?
Well, nobody. He's even having tenacity in case he should be locked up, but he will be able to get out of the fear and just start running away, because again, he is so tanky. And the rest of Gambit, they were nearby to join in, and we have seen in these fights how mobile they are. So whenever they're actually close by, they can join in. Even though one member is dead from Gambit, they just still join the fight and just jump into the face of SK.
4 out of 4 Dragons and 1 out of 1 Barons. It's a massive gold lead here for Gambit. They're about to hit 60,000 gold to the 43.5 that SK have with them. This is going to take a massive, I don't even want to say massive mistake, probably a lot of massive mistakes for SK to get back in this game.
SK needs to try and catch out Gambit either in their own jungle or when Gambit is trying to push up on a turret. If someone like Darren is in the top lane and the 4 members from Gambit are in the mid lane, that's where they need to try to engage with 5 members onto them. Lock up someone like Genja, who's not having the Quicksilver Sash yet. Yes, okay, there's a Mikhail's onto Edward, but then they just need to try and lock him up for a second or two and then blow him up instantly and then try and win the fight. But still, they have to deal with this front line of Gambit, which is the big issue.
And in typical Gambit fashion, we start to see those Guardian Angels appearing, and that's where, well, it becomes a lot harder. Even if you win one team fight, you've still got to kill multiple members multiple times. They've stopped Gambit actually pushing through into that inner turret there in the bottom lane, and we see that they're actually just going to go home, spend up a little bit more money, actually 3,000 gold for Genja to spend. We'll see what he actually ends up finishing off from this one.
Yeah, so Gambit decided to take it a little bit slow for the last few minutes because they had some key items they wanted on multiple members. We actually see the static shift now onto Genja here, so he's going to have some crit now to supply the Infinity Edge, but he's going to have a lot of attack speed as well, and very low amount of attack damage. So when it comes to the straight up hits, if he gets towards the squishy targets from SK, he's still going to do a lot of damage. But onto someone like Freddy with the Randuins, it's going to take some time for him to kill him, but Freddy's not really been the issue for Gambit, so he doesn't actually care.
A couple more items coming through as well. Void Staff for Alex Ich. The Spirit Visage was finished off just a minute ago there by Darien as well. So more damage coming out, more tankiness in there for the Aatrox, who's not only got his Bloodwell passive, he's got a Guardian Angel, he's got a Giant Spell in there on top of things as well.
Yeah, so with these key items, Void Staff, of course, as you said, the Guardian Angel, and now the Baron buff, this is the time for Gambit to just start pushing down and forcing a team fight. They don't even have to care about the turret, they can just engage. Yeah. If they have vision of Svenskeren when they start the fight, they can just jump onto him, force him to Sonya's before he's even using the ultimate, and he will be a non-factor in the fight.
Yeah, and as you rightly pointed out, is he going to be, I mean, Darien can tank the turret, he's got 3 lives essentially. On the other side, you've got Diamond, who's super tanky, and look at this, they've caught SK completely out of position. One single ball in there, big shockwave onto 3 of them, will completely control the SK's position. They do go towards Alex Ich, but the damage is just not there from there. Is Svenskeren jumping over, but he's not doing any damage to them whatsoever. Svenskeren does get popped, the rest of the team starts to dive in. Darien getting a big knockup across the entire team. Jesus is going to dive to the Ignite. Candy Panda uses his barrier, but falls in the end to Genja, and now it's just Vel'Koz running away. Darien is going to chase him. There's another knockup. Darien will probably chase him down, but you know, at what point, it doesn't matter, and Rayton needs to get home to try and defend with the laser, but Gambit are just pushing through. Darian's not going to let him recall. Gambit are going to go for the win.
And Gambit was simply too far ahead. We saw the ultimate from Svenska do no damage, so Gambit will take this game.
Big win here for Gambit. That puts them top of the table. As we said, top of the table clash, and certainly proved to be exactly the game we were looking for. Lots and lots of action. You see the smile there on Alex Hitch's face. The Russians, they had a even week last week, but it was the easier of the two games that they won. This is by far the harder of the two games that they have this week against SK Gaming. They've done it. First day, good performance.
And SK played a combo where they had to win the early game in order to actually have enough damage to shut down these tanky members from Gambit's side. So as soon as Gambit went even in the early game and started winning the team fights, it simply went for SK. They had no chance of a comeback. And every single team fight here for Gambit was just spot on. And with Diamond going huge on Zhao, and of course over Darren doing well on Aatrox, the front line combined with the shield from Alex. What are you actually going to do?
Well, nothing. That was pretty much the answer to that one. Interesting, the first time that we've seen Zhao, at least this split for Diamond. We did see him running a few times last year, of course. 9-1-10 by the end of it. Absolute tanky beast, and you can see happy faces all around. And that's the thing with Diamond, you take away one champion and he just comes in, picks up another one.
We couldn't even see Skarner maybe if he would pull it up. I'm not sure if he likes it now, but it really showed to me that Elise, for both Svenska and Diamond, is definitely not a top pick anymore.
And I have to ask you, Velkos support, you pointed out the weaknesses before we really did see the weaknesses in action. You know, you can't run around even your own jungle there and clear out wards being safe, and especially, you know, if you don't have mobility boots, which maybe give you a bit more time and freedom to do that one, but once you're caught, you don't get away.
What we saw in this game was the reason I don't expect to see it mid lane, at least not more than maybe once, simply because, again, your mobility, you don't have any. It's the same issue for someone like Syndra. She's a very good champion, so much damage, but no mobility, too easy to shut down here. So we saw the same thing for Unrated. Did have a okay laning phase. They died at first to the first spot, but then they actually managed to, I think, got 2 kills onto Edward, onto Candy Panda. So they had a lot of damage. They showed what the combo can do. But outside of the laning phase, they were just too easy to simply lock them down. Both of them, we talked about in champs like how Zhao, Aatrox can jump towards your no mobility backline and just blow them up together with Alex.
And that's, you know, something that we focus on as well, the fact that the Gambit bottom lane has been a little bit dodgy when it comes to early game. The fact they've given up a lot of first bloods, but this time around they really controlled that bottom lane. Again, we saw flash hook flays from Edward, and I think he's to that point as well. The last 2 performances that we've seen him at least is where you got to think, okay, we either first pick Thresh away from them or we ban Thresh out completely.
Yeah, he's been spot on with it 2 games in a row now, and we talked in the pre-game how he was a player to watch for this match, of course, and in general, because Edward has been so up and down when he's been playing other champions than Thresh. He had his Karma performance last week was not good at all. But then, whenever he's picking up this Thresh, he's playing so well, and if he can be consistent with it, we see the bot lane from Gambit actually doing really well. Yes, that's some over-aggressive moves, but then again, they were already ahead at this point, and that's what we know from Gambit. They like to push it to the limit.
And speaking of over-aggressive, Darian again in the top lane, drawing multiple members up to him. Actually, 1v1 at the start of things when Freddy got involved, then the rest of SK and the rest of Gambit were there. I think they came out with 3 or 2 kills by the end of that, and I seem to have said it over and over again. 3 kills for Gambit, 3 kills for Gambit, 3 kills for Gambit. It happened 3 or 4 times in a row, and you just can't come back when you're losing every team fight by 2 or 3 men each time.
When you have a combo that needs to win the early game to be able to set up these kills, be able to get the vision control you need with LeBlanc, with Fiddlestick, of course, to catch out targets, once you lose the first team fight, next one is going to be even harder. Lose this one, even harder the next one, again against a combo that's simply better than you in straight-up team fights. And that's why whenever Darian was setting something up in the top lane, rest of Gambit just ran up there instantly because they knew there would be a fight and they wanted to fight. And as we said during the game, every single team fight from Gambit was just spot on.
Spot on indeed. Great win for them. Let's hear from Gambit's Diamond after that win, which propels his team into first place. He's standing by, so over to Shox and Demon.
Thank you very much, Joe. Demon and I have Gambit's Diamond here with us, as said, after a fantastic game for securing first place for Gambit versus SK. Tell me a little bit about picks and bans, because first time we saw Vel'Koz. How are you guys prepared?